mute myself. Okay, so first things first, you guys know that we're all rediscovering internet communication because we can't meet in person. This was scheduled to be in person today, and Mr. David Howell ordered all of these wonderful patches. So if you want one, he will mail you one, but you have to email him at this email right here on the introduction screen. So write it down if you need to, david@davidhowell.law.com. And that's how you get your own patch for the Rare Merit Badge University. Give me a thumbs up when you've got it down and I'll move on. How are we doing? A few thumbs up? I saw one. All right, we're gonna go on. So I have a few expectations of how you're going to behave in this. I mean, we're gonna have respect for each other. We are scouts. We're gonna use our scout law and we're going to behave well. I've been in some of the merit badges where scouts did not behave well. So I'm laying this out for you. First things first. Please stay muted while I'm speaking. I will stop after every requirement so that you can ask questions. This is a give and take, back and forth. We're not going to just sit here and listen to me talk. Use chat. If you can't remember the question, enter it in there and I will be able to see what you typed in. This Zoom meeting is being recorded and I'm hoping your parents are there for our 2 Deep leadership. This is something that your parents should be kind of watching and keeping track of. I would like you to very quickly introduce yourself, name, troop, middle school, and favorite vegetable. So I'm going to unmute one at a time. First up is, oh, I'm not seeing who's who. The Astros shirt.
Felix.
Felix.
Yeah.
Troop, name.
Well, my troop is 3377. My name is Felix Facundo. And my favorite vegetable, I don't know if zucchini is a vegetable.
You don't eat any vegetables?
No, I don't know if zucchini is a vegetable.
Oh, yes, it is.
Okay, good.
All right, good choice. And what's your middle school? What school are you in? You could be in high school.
I do online schooling.
Nice. That's great. Thank you. Okay, Braden, you're going to be up next. There you go.
Let's see. Of course, my name is Braden. I'm from Troop 126. My favorite vegetable, I'd say a potato, if that's considered a vegetable.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the school I go to is pure traditional.
All right, Braden's also from Arizona, guys. He's our long range one, so yay. All right, next up, William.
All right, my name's William. My troop is 1010. I go to Bee Cave Middle School, and my favorite vegetable is a carrot.
Carrot, good one. Okay, next up, I can only see the top of your head. I've unmuted you. Pierce.
Hi, I'm from Troop 990. What were the questions again?
What school do you go to and your favorite vegetable?
Oh yes, I go to Hill Country Middle School, and my favorite is probably potato.
Ah, I like it. Okay, lots of potatoes. All right, I'm gonna meet you and move to the next person, which is, it's not showing me y'all's names. Who did I unmute? A B. Do you see it? Okay, we'll come back to him. All right, Caleb, go for it. All right, you can't figure out unmuting. So is it Linya?
There we go. Got it.
Oh, okay. Troop?
My name is Caleb. I go to Troop 70. I go to Bee Cave Middle School. My favorite vegetable would have to be, ooh, probably a carrot, to be honest.
Okay, cool. All right, Manu, are you there?
Yeah.
All right.
My name is Manu. I'm in Troop 72. My favorite vegetable will be a potato. And the school I go to is West Cypress Hills Elementary.
Oh, very nice. Thank you. All right. I don't know the name. Can you see that I'm wanting to unmute you?
Was it me?
Nathan, yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm Nathan, and I go to Troop 562. My middle school is Walsh Middle School, and my favorite vegetable, I guess, would be a carrot.
All right. Great. Is it Trinity or Linya?
Trinity.
Hi, Trinity.
Hi, I am Trinity Rem. I am in Troop 72 with Manu. I am in high school. I'm a 10th grader, and my favorite vegetable has to be broccoli.
All right. First broccoli today. Woohoo. Okay, we are looking at, let's see, Linya. Let's do Linya.
My name is Lenya, and I'm in Troop 72, and I go to Cypress Hills Elementary, and my favorite vegetable is probably a carrot.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Okay, did I get everybody? Love the potato. That's awesome. Okay, we're going to move on. Guys, my name is Erin Johnston, and this is my email, so you can write it on your gardening merit badge worksheet. I have 2 scouts, one in Troop 70 and the other in Pack 445. And right now I'm substitute teaching. I used to be a teacher at Webb Middle School in AISD, but currently I am home with my kids. My favorite vegetable is a kohlrabi. So we will learn more about kohlrabi today. All right, our first thing we're gonna do, guys, is requirement number 5. So if you're looking in your packet, you're going to flip to page 3. And what we are talking about the County Ag Extension Office. And I would like to introduce you to somebody very cool. Her name is Dr. Daphne Richards, and she is the ag agent for Travis County.
Hi, guys.
I'm going to put you on so that they can see you.
Got it.
All right, you should be up.
Hi. As Erin said, I'm an ag agent here, and I work for Travis County. I work for the Ag Extension Service, and my special area of expertise that I get to focus on is horticulture. And I was actually just out working in my garden just now, and you'll hear power tools in my backyard. We're working out there, and so I can't get that completely muted. But I get to focus on teaching people about gardening. So it's very special to be here with you today. And I also am on TV every week. Every Saturday, I'm on a gardening program called Central Texas Gardener. It airs on PBS in lots of different areas around the nation. And definitely on PBS here at Austin is where it originates. So that's a really fun part of my job. I get to manage a group of volunteers who are called Master Gardeners. And Erin, the presenter here today, is one of my Master Gardeners. She does lots of great things for us. And one of the things that I teach Master Gardeners to go out and do is to interact with guys like you, youth and adults, and teach them about gardening. That's not just gardening vegetables and gardening food. It's also how to care for your lawns and your trees. And so if you have a healthy lawn, you might need to fertilize it. And so I also teach people how to use fertilizers effectively and not use too much of them or too little and not at the wrong time, because we don't want to pollute the environment. So we don't want to use fertilizers at the wrong time and have it all wash down into our rivers and cause pollution. Another thing that's very important as a gardener that we do is to use insecticides and herbicides or pesticides properly. So if you have insects in your backyard, the first thing we want to do is identify them to make sure if they're causing a problem or if they're actually not causing a problem. And if they're not causing a problem, we can just ignore them. If they're causing a problem, are there just a few of them? Can we just pick them off and throw them out for the birds to eat or squash them? Or do we need to use a product on them? And then what type of product do we use based on the insect? So we try to help people in my office do all of these things safely, not only for themselves and their own health, but also for the environment. And that's basically what I do for a job. It's a great job.
Could you tell me a little bit about your education, Daphne?
Yes, so I have 2 degrees, 2 college degrees. I have a bachelor's degree in botany, and I got that degree at the University of Texas here in Austin. And after that, I taught high school for a couple of years, and then I went back and did my master's degree in horticulture, and I got that degree from Texas A&M. And for my job, you do have to have a master's degree to get the job that I have, at least a master's degree, if not greater than that. But I have 2 degrees, and they're both in plant sciences. One is in botany, and one is in horticulture. And the difference between those 2 fields is botany is more how you name plants, how plants go in the world, and then horticulture is how do we grow plants and cultivate them for either beauty or food, or but just how to grow plants.
Cool. Could you tell me kind of what an average day is like for your job, pre-quarantine?
An average day on my job, really at this point in my career, I do a lot of organizing. So I schedule presentations, I schedule volunteers to do presentations. I do maybe 1 presentation like this a month, or I may have a month where I do several presentations. I speak to gardening clubs. I do television once a week. So I'll go in the studio and record my television segment. I answer a lot of emails. So we get email questions from people who say, what's wrong with my tree? We also have a phone desk where people can call and ask us a question. There's a bug eating my plant. My grass is dying. Do I prune my trees yet? I think my plant has a disease. People can call our office, and either a volunteer or myself will answer those questions for the public. So I spend a lot of time managing people really to help us do all of that. And that's mostly because we have over 1 million people here in our community, and there's just one of me. So in order to be able to reach more people, I have to train volunteers to help me do my job. But basically what I do every day is I go to my office and I check my email, see if I've gotten anything I need to answer or respond to. I may have some emergency, something where there's a large, let's say I live in an area where there's a forest and there's a lot of trees dying. I might have to go and look at the trees. Or let's say there's a neighborhood and everyone in the neighborhood has a tree that's dying. I might have to go out and check that out. So there are some larger scale problems that I might have to deal with. But basically I manage people and I kind of shuffle paper around on some days and manage things and organize meetings and organize volunteers to go out into the public.
Now, I know
we also go out at different times and do what we call plant clinics. And so if there's an Earth Day event or any sort of festival that's outdoors where people are hanging out talking to people, we will send master gardeners to hang out, and people can come by in person and ask gardening questions at those different events like Earth Day, etc.
Very cool. Now I know that they can send in like soil samples to the Ag Extension to get testing done and other things like that. What are the other services?
Yes. So on soil so our agency is headquartered in College Station, which is where Texas A&M University is, and our agency is part of Texas A&M University. And as part of that, we have a soil testing lab on campus and a water testing lab. And then some people, if you're a nursery grower, you could even send in leaf samples. Let's say you're growing a vegetable crop and they don't seem to have the nutrition that you're looking for. Then you might send it in to get a leaf sample and understand what you need to fertilize with to get that nutrition level up in your product so it's more nutritious for humans to eat. We do those types of things as well, yes.
Very cool. Well, I'm going to open it up to the scouts and see if we have any questions.
I don't.
The screen name, Criselda, you unmuted yourself, but then you remuted yourself. So if you want to unmute yourself and then ask your question.
Okay. The second field you mentioned after botany, what was the name and how do you spell it?
Yeah, that's actually the more important of the two for my particular job. And it is all about gardening, and it's pronounced horticulture, and it's spelled HORTICULTURE, horticulture.
All right,
I've also
And
thank
put
you.
it up in the chat.
study of how to grow plants, how to cultivate plants.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
How does one become a master gardener?
Oh, that is a very good question, Mr. Texan Cow. How does one become a master gardener? So master gardeners have to go through an application process. I train usually a cohort of 20 master gardeners at a time. You have to come through a special training, which is basically just a whole bunch of horticulture all at once. So you go through 8 weeks of 1 day a week training. So it's basically about 60 hours of training. And then after that point, then you spend a year as an intern. So you do volunteer work in our demonstration garden. We have a demonstration garden at our office where we grow vegetables and other plants. So master gardeners have to come and garden with us to learn more. We send them out into the community. So it takes about 2 full years to become a master gardener. You first have to come through the class. And then the first year you volunteer for us, you have to do a minimum of 50 volunteer hours. And then to remain a master gardener every year subsequently, you have to do at least 24 volunteer hours a year. So training, then volunteering in perpetuity.
And let me tell you guys, this last year we had an 8th grader go through the classes.
Yeah.
So it's not out of reach for a student like you if you really wanted to do that. The application time frame is usually in June. And
so the application time frame usually is in around June. We go through a whole process where we interview people because we only take 20 students a year. We like to keep the class really small so we can get to know everybody. The 200 master gardeners that we have here, I know all of them very well. They're going out representing me in the community, so I want to know them. But the last year we did the class in the summer, and we were planning to do the class in the summer this year, so the class would have been held in June and July, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. So we may do the class in the fall. We may not be able to do it at all. It's kind of all up in the air because of this situation. But normally the application process happens about 3 or 4 months before the class actually starts.
So are you currently taking applications right now?
We are not. So before we even allow you to apply to the program, we make you come to a session and learn about what it is. Because we get a lot of people who just want to learn about gardening. So they'll come and think, oh, I'll be a master gardener because I want to learn about gardening. And that's part of it. But then what we really want you to do is volunteer for us. So we want to make sure that people don't just come to our class learning about gardening and then not wanting to volunteer. So we make you come in person, session like this, and I explain the whole process very thoroughly. This is what we really are looking for. This is what you're applying for. And usually about half the people that come to that session end up not applying for a program because they just really didn't understand what it was, that we were looking for a long-term commitment, people who are willing to be volunteers. So we had those sessions were scheduled for March. And of course we were not able to have those sessions. So everything is up in the air at the moment.
Any other questions, guys? All right, so thank you guys for asking such good questions for Daphne. I'm gonna go over what is not covered today. Okay, we are not going to be doing the grow 6 vegetables and grow 6 flowers. It's going to require more time than we have, and we need to be together. We need to be able to go to nurseries. We need to be able to get these things, and it just wasn't possible in our quarantine situation. All right, on number 8, we're gonna do one of the following, and this is hopefully going to be done in June. We're gonna build a vermicompost bin, which is a worm compost bin. We're gonna be using 2 5-gallon buckets, and we're gonna maintain it for 90 days. So.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I've already done carrots and I have corn growing right now. Would that count?
Well,
or does it need to be in the time?
I'm regularly in your garden. It's fine.
I know.
I'll check you out on that stuff. Okay, Requirement number 1, and remember, I'm going to email out another free Zoom meeting ID as soon as this fails and you re-log in. Does everybody understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Number 1, hazards of gardening. I did not fill this out because I wanted to know what you guys think. What are the hazards of gardening?
Animals.
Animals. That's a great one. Animals. What else?
Shock from insect bites.
Ooh, insect bites. I like that one. I get a lot of those. What else? Braden?
Splinters and rose thorns.
Splinters and thorns. I get a lot of those too.
This is more of just a generalized one, but like sunburn and like heat stroke and stuff. if
Okay.
you're, like,
No, that's a really, really good point. Heat stroke. Excellent. What else? What else do you think you can have happen?
You have to use tools to garden, right? If you can get hurt by the tools.
Okay, hurt by the tools. And what are tools usually made of?
Metal.
Metal.
wood.
So what happens when you get hit by like a rusty piece of metal?
Tetanus.
Tetanus.
Tetanus. We can get tetanus. All right. What else? Anybody else? What about infections from like bacteria in the soil?
Yeah.
What do you think about
That's a
that?
real one.
So when I was asking my husband about this, he pointed out that I have a whole shed of chemicals. What could happen if the wrong person got into my chemicals?
Be fatal.
It could be fatal. What's that called when you swallow a chemical?
Poisoning.
Poisoning. That's excellent. All right, so let's talk about what are some of these things that we can do to deal with. Like, let's look at cuts and thorns. How would you handle that? You guys are the scouts. I am not a trained medic. Braden?
You put a Band-Aid on it.
Put a Band-Aid on it. Should you do anything before you put a Band-Aid on it?
Yeah, you need to wash
Wash it.
Wash it.
Yes, wash it. Sterilize it. You should wipe it with alcohol, soap, water, all of those.
Wait, alcohol?
Alcohol is a sterilizer.
Okay. It stings.
Okay, what do you think about scratches? Would that be the same thing as cuts?
No. You would just wash it out and then cover it.
Okay, so maybe it's not as deep and you might not need to do as much
Yeah.
first aid. Let's call it that, first aid. Okay, the next one up is puncture wounds.
Hey.
You just got stuck with a thorn. What should you do?
Sterilize it.
Sterilize it, always good. Yeah. What else?
Pull the thorn out.
Pull the thorn out. You should definitely get that thing out. Now, what if it's a puncture wound because of a bee sting?
For a beast. No.
Card. Just
Who
wipe
said,
it down.
who said credit cards?
This guy.
Credit cards. So if you have a bee sting and it's still in your arm, the worst thing you can do is to pull it straight up. You should take a card or your fingernail and scrape. So if it's a bee sting, you scrape across it. That's going to keep it from injecting more venom into your skin. All right, what about insect bites? Let's think about ants.
For ants, you're gonna want to wash the wound, put some anti-itch, and then cover it.
For mosquitoes, you would want to put anti-itch, like the same thing.
Yeah.
And a way to prevent that is to put mosquito spray on.
Yeah, mosquito spray. That's a really good prevention. I like that. Write that down, guys. All right, what about anaphylactic shock? Hey guys, we're down to less than a minute on the video. I'm going to email 06262. Just take it to him. Just take it to him. Okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job getting back in, guys. Good job getting in. I am going to keep the rest of ours as on track as possible so that we can finish up in the next 40 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I have 3 missing. Okay, well, let's keep going. We have anaphylactic shock. What do we do for anaphylactic shock? My husband just said die. Anaphylactic shock, what do we do?
What is anaphylactic shock?
Anaphylactic shock is, you know, people who are allergic to bee stings and they get stung, their body swells up. Anaphylactic shock is the stopping of the body functioning.
So
Yeah, that's what I
up and you want to use an EpiPen?
EpiPen, yes, very good. Okay, that's about the only thing we can do. We can stab an EpiPen in their body, which is not fun. We have one here at our house. And you call 911 immediately. You let the paramedics deal with that because, woof, it is way more than we want to deal with. You call 911 first thing. Okay. All right. Heat reactions. Somebody said stroke and heat. Sunburn. What could you do?
You could go under shade and drink some water because
Very good. Or even go inside. It would be a good idea to go inside, get out of the sun. Yeah. Okay, reaction or exposure to pesticides. Let's think about pesticides or chemicals on your skin first things first.
Go take a shower.
Shower, that's a great idea.
Just wash it off and put some medicine on to treat it for any reactions.
You might need some medicine depending upon what it is. It all depends. So what if you swallow it?
You call poison control.
Poison control.
Poison control, yes. Poison control. And I know there's numbers on lots of people's fridges. So that's one thing. Trying to get our Arizona scout back in. He's not back yet. You guys were really responsive on getting back in. Thank you. Okay, so number 2, we're gonna skip because we need to do that in person and we need to be able to buy some things. Let's go to nutritional value of roots, vegetables, and fruits. Okay, so I picked the potato versus the sweet potato. And if you look on page 3, you see them at the top. And it has lots of information about these different things. What do you think is the good thing to look at when you're looking at nutritional information? Would we be looking at the fat or the calories or the fiber or the carbs or the protein? What's the best?
Protein.
Protein? Any other ideas? Protein's a good way of measuring it. Calories is the most general. Calories is a measure of how much energy it's going to provide to your body. So when we look at the potato, it has 168 calories. Does anybody know how many calories you're supposed to have per day?
Sure, my mom would know.
Yes, she does well.
2,000?
It's more than 1,000.
2,000.
2,000 is a really good average. For most men, they need 2,500. Most women need about 1,800. And for kids, it's different when you're growing. You're going to need more calories. So a very general way to put it is look at the calories. One whole potato, this is not butter, not sour cream, not cheese, has 168 calories. That's not very much. It's very light. Now, if we look at the sweet potato, it's only 112 calories. Most vegetables are extremely lean, extremely good for you. So we're looking at carrots now. Carrots only have, per one carrot, how many calories?
30.
30 calories. That's right. That's not very much. I think 2 people said their carrots were their favorite.
3.
Yeah. All right, everybody got it? Write that down? Okay. We're looking at vegetables, broccoli and cauliflower. Again, they don't have very much. I'm seeing on cauliflower, 27 calories per cup. So if you chop it up and you fill up 1 measuring cup for 1 cup, it's 27 calories. It's just not very much. And then if you see broccoli, we have 31 calories per 1 cup. And that's raw. When you cook them, they lose a bit of nutrients. But
How many calories were the sweet potato and just the potato again?
the potato was 126 and the sweet potato was, who wrote that one down?
It was
112.
112, thank you.
Oh yeah, and how much was the carrot again?
30.
What were the calories for the sweet potato and potato again? I
Sweet
completely
potato was
lost track.
112, potato was 126.
Thank you.
No problem. It's amazing how lean these vegetables are. All right, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to move on. Okay, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yay. All right, we're gonna look at the next. Okay, this is my favorite vegetable. This is the kohlrabi. So this picture on the left is actually out of my garden. I picked it just the other day. I'm very excited. I have yet to eat it, but I cannot wait. They taste a little bit like broccoli. I roast them in thin slices in the oven and they are delicious with a little salt. I love them. So if you look at how many calories these have, 37 calories. It's not very much.
And this is for 3B, right?
This is for, yes, 3B. Sorry, I'm trying to admit all the students. Okay, I think I got everybody back in. Welcome back, Trinity, Braden. We went through the root and we're in the vegetables. I'll catch you guys up at the end.
Where's your picture? Why is my name say, why is the music? Oh, you have to start video. Okay, hold on. Can you wait?
Kohlrabi has 37 calories. So for Trinity and Braden,
Just get back. Get back. Hold on. Get back.
Okay.
No, in a little bit. How do you start video? Okay. There we go. I'm gonna mute myself.
okay, so we're on 3B, and it says 3 vegetables that bear vegetables above the ground, and we are on, one of them is kohlrabi. So you write down kohlrabi. Oh, I just swiped off of my share. Window. There we go. And it's 37 calories. We will go back through this for those who just got in. Okay, fruits, 3C. I have bananas and strawberries. And bananas and strawberries have a natural sugar in them, so they have more calories than vegetables. So a banana, which is much sweeter, has 105 calories. A cup of strawberries has 49 calories. You guys are about to be photobombed.
Bucky's here.
My big fuzzy cat. Well, hello. All right, thumbs up if you're ready to move on. All right, I see mostly thumbs. Our next one is an apple. I know most of you guys eat apples, so I put in an apple. There are 95 calories in a cup of apple. Oh, kitty, you're too hairy. Whew. All right, thumbs up if you're ready to move on. 1, 2, 3. Good, I think everybody. Yay. All right, now for the fun part, guys. A lot of you picked up from me a seed starting lid. And you have a quart jar. You can see on my screen. There, it has little holes in it. Some of you don't have this, and we can arrange for you to pick it up afterwards, and you can do this activity on your own and take pictures. So I provided you with 2 tablespoons of seeds. And you literally put them in your jar. I'm gonna scoop this down. 2 tablespoons of seeds. Okay, and then I want you to run to the nearest sink and put just enough water to cover your seeds. It should look like the picture on the left now.
So
I'm
the
gonna do that
entire
myself.
bag. So is the entire bag of seeds 2 tablespoons?
Yes, if you picked up a bag of seeds, the entire bag of seeds.
All right, be right.
Wait, and you said that I should use half a cup of lentils, right?
Correct, yes. Lentils will sprout, and you need to do about half a cup in a quart-sized jar. So if you don't have your seeds, shoot me an email and I will get you a package somehow. We will either drop off on doorsteps or Braden, you're getting yours in the mail. So we'll figure it out. But you guys can see, I didn't even fill up my jar all the way. I just covered the seeds.
Is this too much water?
Let's see.
All right.
No, I don't think it's too much water. I think you're doing fine.
Thank you.
That was
This
great.
too much water? It might be a
No.
little hard.
I think it's fine. If you can see on mine,
Is this too much water?
it has a little bit of extra too. As long as your seeds are
All right.
covered, you're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, does it mean something if like some of the seeds are floating?
So if you look at mine, I have seeds floating as well. We're going to talk about afterwards why some of these seeds don't germinate. And maybe the floating seeds, maybe they're old, maybe they're just not good. I planted a lot of squash and zucchini this year, and I'm on my 4th round of planting, and they're not coming up. I don't know whether it's old seeds or if they're just, it's a bad season for them.
Do we need those type of seeds, those specific type of seeds?
So I will show you at the end the different types of seeds that you can try. And I'm providing to the class any, so if you want to send me an email, we can figure out how to get you some.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so now we have your lid, and you put your lid on. And you are going to let this sit in the water until tomorrow morning. And tomorrow is going to be our day 1. Okay, so it sits for 12 to 24 hours, sometime in between that, in the water. And then tomorrow morning, you're going to dump it over, not right now. Dump it over, and you're going to drain the seeds. Okay, let me show you how I did it. So here is.
Do you leave it over the sun?
No, you don't store it in the sun.
Okay.
Okay, so
Right.
here is a set I started on the left, and here's a set that's about 5 days in on the right. And I tilt them slanted so that the water can drain out, and I put them in a Tupperware so it's not all over my sink. Does everybody see that container they're in? I've got a lot more pictures. So on day 1, you drain them the first time. So that's tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night, you're going to put more water in, swish them, drain again. Okay? And you're going to do this every morning and every evening for 7 days. Does everybody understand? Yeah? Good. I see thumbs up.
So for 1 week.
For 1 week. Yeah, they're going to be ready after 7 days. All right, this is on a day 2. You're going to wake up, let's see, what is that, Monday morning, and you're going to see all these teeny tiny little white shoots. Okay, it's going to look just like that. And I'm going to send you this slideshow so that you can reference it back as well. Okay, so you're going to be rinsing every morning and every night for 7 days. That's on day 2 also, okay? Here's a day 3. The sprouts are longer and you're starting to see some of the little leaves emerging. Okay, and you're still rinsing once in the morning and once when?
At night.
At night, very good. So twice a day. Now, a lot of you have broccoli seeds. That's what I ordered because I thought it was interesting. Okay, broccoli seeds, if you look on this, have little white hairs on the sides of the sprout. It looks like mold. It's not mold. Okay. And you're going to start seeing that on day 4. And if you guys have any questions during this whole process, I want you to email me or you can text me as long as you include your parent in the text. Okay, here's day 5. You can see I've got my jar at an angle to keep the water draining out. I'm still rinsing every morning and every night. On day 5, put them into the sun. That's going to start the greening process. They're going to start absorbing the sunlight. Okay, so you see how they turned green. This is day 6. And by day 7, your jar is going to be so stuffed full, you can't even pull them out. Okay, now why do you think every seed did not sprout? Because you can see at the top of that picture, not every seed sprouted. I said maybe they were old. That was one option. Do you have any other ideas?
They already germinated in the package.
Maybe they'd already germinated and failed. Okay.
They're maybe because it's so compact that there's not enough room for them to grow.
Oh, maybe there wasn't room. I like that. That's a really good guess.
Maybe the mother plant, some of the seeds from that didn't get pollinated.
I love that idea that maybe they didn't get pollinated. Those are all excellent ideas. And probably you have a situation in every single jar of one of those. There's a lot of different reasons why seeds don't sprout. So on day 7, you take them out of your jar and you can put them in your fridge and eat them like salad. So I suggest you try them. Okay, requirement number 4, that's our seed sprouting. Now, if you love this, here's a list of different things you can germinate. So I think Linya had lentils, or was that Trinity?
I think that was me.
Is that Trinity? Your names aren't popping up on my videos.
No, I'm Julianne.
Julianne, okay. So lentils is an option. So Julianne went into her pantry and found lentils. There's clover, which I think Will had.
Yep.
Yeah. And I provided you with broccoli seeds. And then I also bought alfalfa. So if you get really into this, let me know. I'll give you some seeds. It's no problem. Okay, so our next one is visit a botanical garden. We're going to check out one of the coolest botanical gardens there is, which is the Kew Institute in England.
Kew is one of the most amazing gardens in the world. It has an extraordinary diversity of plants, over 14,000 trees. And it's all set within a beautiful landscape that has layers of history and heritage associated with it. It's an extraordinary place to visit and to learn about plants, but also learn about nature and learn about the history of this country.
This is a ginkgo tree at Kew, also known as a maidenhair tree. It's one of our oldest trees at Kew. We call it an old lion because it dates back to 1762 when it was planted. So we know the actual planting date. Planted by Princess Augusta and Prince Frederick, and the creation of the ovaries.
Kew Palace is where the royal family would spend short times, but they loved living there. And this is where the original Botanic Gardens of Kew began.
This is the famous Chinese pagoda. It's one of the oldest buildings at Kew. It was built in 1762 for Princess Augusta. It was the height of fashion and formed the centre of the pleasure gardens, which were the basis of the Kew we know today. And it's one of several beautiful historic follies scattered throughout Kew's landscape.
This house was designed and built in 1852 by Richard Turner. The star in here is the Victoria Cruziana. So this is one of the big water lilies from South America. The leaves can grow to 1 metre across. It produces about 40 leaves a year. But the amazing thing is that we grow it from seed every single year. So it's one of the biggest annuals that can exist. We also have the smallest water lily in the world. We've helped conserve this plant, and actually it's no longer exists in the wild. So we've actually saved it from extinction.
So we have...
All right, that's where we're going to pause it, simply because it's long and it goes into other things. But there's some links here to other botanical gardens, and when I share these slides, you can go and explore some of those. They're really cool, and they're worth checking out. All right, how did I make it bigger? Okay, so number 6 is about honeybees. So if you turn page 4, let's talk about honeybees and why they're important.
Bees are a really interesting kind of insect. You're probably familiar with honeybees and you've probably seen bumblebees, but there are actually about 20,000 species of bees all around the world. Bees are found in almost all habitats and they play a really vital role. They might look different, they might have different things, but they almost all do the same basic for us and for the environment. And that's that they pollinate plants. They help make sure that plants can reproduce. Bees are vital for most of the foods that we eat. 1 in every 3 bites of food we take on any given day was probably helped along by a bee somewhere. Among the top 100 crops that make up 90% of people's diets around the world, bees are responsible for pollinating more than 70. It's easy to take bees for granted, so one way to appreciate them is to imagine what would happen if they were to disappear. What would it be like to have a world without bees? My name is John Hoekstra, and I'm the Chief Scientist for World Wildlife Fund. So the first thing that would happen if bees were to disappear is that the production of different fruits and different crops would suddenly fall off dramatically. For instance, the agave plant, which is used to make tequila, reproduction would go down to 1/3000th of what it would be with bees. So we'd see that happening with crop after crop: cherries, apples, almonds, blueberries, pumpkins, squash, cucumbers. The reproduction would fall off. And the first people to feel that would probably be farmers who would lose income. They'd see their incomes dwindling. A study conducted in Costa Rica with coffee farmers found that the bees increased their income by $60,000 a year. So if the bees were to disappear, farmers would immediately see a hit in their pocketbook. That would feed forward to the rest of us who would no longer see all these fruits, vegetables, nuts that depend on bees for pollination would suddenly become much less abundant. So if we were able to get them, they would probably cost us a lot more money. But more than likely, we simply wouldn't have those foods in our diet anymore, and we'd be stuck with what I think would be a pretty bland diet of grains. Not only are
That's a
bees
queen,
vitally
guys.
important for human food, but they're also vitally important for our ecosystem for the same reason. They're responsible for pollinating plants and enabling those plants to reproduce. So if we lost bees, we'd see many, many of the plants in the world struggling to reproduce and over time dying off. And so we'd see the richness of our forests, our grasslands, and other habitats eroding as bees were no longer there to pollinate those plants and help them reproduce. If we were to lose those bees and we started to lose those plants, that would have echo effects for people in terms of reducing the resilience of those natural systems to protect our soil, to provide clean water to our cities, just to provide beauty. Bees are certainly important for pollinating food crops, but they're also important for other crops that touch our lives every day, like cotton. If it weren't for bees pollinating cotton, we all might have to be wearing polyester. I wouldn't want to live in a world without bees, but we're observing some declines in bee populations around the world, and it looks to be a number of factors coming together all at once. One of them is pesticides. While there's legitimate use for pesticides in controlling unwanted and damaging crop pests, we need to make sure that those chemicals don't have unwanted effect on our bees. World without bees, in the worst case, it wouldn't just be that our diet was bland, it might be that we don't have enough food to go around. But I think that the direct, tangible importance of bees for all the food that we count on, it certainly makes that a possibility I wouldn't want to try out.
All right, what were some of the impacts on humanity if there were no pollinators? The second part of 6. What did you hear?
Prices go up and we might not have any more of those certain types of fruit.
Prices would go up, lack of certain foods.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are wasps pollinators?
They are. Wasps are pollinators as well as other things like butterflies.
Huh.
So that's why they say 1 out of 3 things are pollinated by bees. It's not everything that bees do, but bees are the big one.
Okay.
Okay, so what are one of the problems that bees face today? What did you hear?
Pesticides.
Pesticides. Pesticides is the biggest one. Bees, when they go from plant to plant, they pick those pesticides up on their feet. And then when they go back to the hive, they're walking on the hive, and their honey, which they eat, is contaminated by the pesticides. And when they walk on the hive, their babies are also in that honeycomb. So they're polluting their own babies. They're killing off their own babies. It's a big, big problem. Let's see if I can get my screen. There we go. All right, so those are some of the problems with bees. Did everybody get some answers for 6? Okay. So this is a picture from my garden, and I thought it was very interesting, so I took a picture of it. This is a leaf of kale, and these are just leaf-eating caterpillars. They're nothing special. And if you look at number 7, we're looking at different pests. So you can put a caterpillar or specifically a leaf-eating caterpillar for number 1, 7-1. And if I were trying to get rid of these by chemical means, I could use something called BT, the letters BT. Now that is a chemical, it's not organic. In this case, I picked the leaf off and I got rid of it. I did not want to use a bunch of chemicals in my garden. And my garden's not wholly organic, but I didn't want to use it. So I just removed the leaves with lots of caterpillars like this. And you can see on the picture on the left, these are caterpillar seeds. So when I can see things like this, I can go and pick not seeds, eggs on, the eggs. So that's one organic method, is just removal, just taking the bugs off of your plants. So for number 1, you could do BT, which is a chemical and not organic. You could remove them, which is organic. You could try some other things like neem or insecticidal soap or spinosad. Those are some options. Let's go on to the next one. This is one of my favorites. Does anybody recognize this? I know you do, Will.
Not fully.
The green worm on the top. Do you know what it is?
Oh yeah, that guy. I don't recognize the bug with the red.
Yeah, he's different. I'm gonna talk about this worm first. Anybody know what that is? Braden?
Yes, it's a hornworm.
It is a hornworm. This is a tomato hornworm. And they're one of my favorite to see in the garden, just because they're huge. Literally, they can be the size of your finger. And when you find them, you see on the tomato plant, all the leaves are gone. They wreak damage really fast. They can take out half a tomato plant in like one night. And I could use, again, BT or spinosad on this guy. I could remove him. What I tend to do in our family is we have a butterfly net thing where we hatch butterflies, and I will put him in a container of dirt because he makes a chrysalis in the dirt and then hatches out of the chrysalis in the dirt, which is cool. So we remove him. Another way is not removing him. Let me point out this guy at the bottom. He is a wasp, and he is a beneficial insect. And what does that mean? So on number 3, you're going to write down wasp. And do you see these white things on the right side picture on the top of the tomato hornworm? Mm-hmm. Those are wasp eggs. They lay it on the tomato hornworm, and the things hatch out and actually go into that worm and eat the worm out from the inside. It's really cool. So I've actually found these one time with the eggs on it. It was so neat. So I love that. And then you can see that's a tomato hornworm egg on the very left side. So this is one of those instances when you would not kill a pest when they have the eggs, because this is a really good beneficial. All right, this is one of my ultimate nemesises. I hate this bug. Ah! This is the squash bug. He eats squash plants. You can see the damage on the lower left-hand corner. We have some questions.
We actually have squash bugs out there right now, so.
Oh yeah, I know, they're so bad. They lay their eggs on the squash plants, and when their eggs hatch, their larvae, in the right side picture, you can see the larvae, they burrow into the stem of the squash plant. I have done entire years of not planting squash because these guys have ruined my gardens so bad. They're really frustrating to me. And if
Would this be number 3 or number 4?
You're gonna run into them.
Would this be 3 or 4?
This is 4. So we have the leaf-eating caterpillar, the tomato hornworm, a wasp, and a squash bug.
And, okay, and.
The tomato hornworm, you can either remove it or use, again, the BT chemical on it. The wasp, you want to leave that be. You don't want to kill it. Yes. On a squash bug, there's a few ways of dealing with it, and none of them are good. The first one is called diatomaceous earth. Braden, you have a question?
Can't you introduce a new insect like a praying mantis or a ladybug into that environment? And
So
what they
none of those prey bugs eat squash bugs. Ladybugs eat aphids. So if you have an aphid problem, you can go and buy a bunch of ladybugs. Praying mantis eat, I'd have to look it up, but they're good hunters, but they don't eat squash bugs. You can get nematodes, which are a little burrowing worm, and they will run fire ants out of your garden. But I don't know of a single predator that you could introduce to a squash bug. What I do is use something called diatomaceous earth. It's DIATOMACHEOUS. That's DIATOMACHEOUS. Diatomaceous earth. It's a powder, and I put it on my plants a lot of times around the stem. The diatomaceous earth, the powder form is crystalline, and when it gets on these squash bugs, it literally cuts their shells. So it kills them. It's like sprinkling glass on your skin. It's kind of nasty, but it kills them. So that's one way to do it.
Would that be organic?
Say it again?
Would that be organic? Or?
It is organic, yes. I use that in my chicken coop as well because it runs all the bugs out.
What's that stuff called that you put in your chicken coop?
Diatomaceous earth, and I use it in the garden too.
Okay.
So a chemical form of trying to get rid of these guys is called pyrethrin. And you would have to go and find all the bottles with this chemical ingredient on it. It's PYRETHRIN, pyrethrin. It is not organic. Okay, we are down to less than a minute on our 40 minutes. This is the last slide. For the fifth one, I want you to find a pest that is in your garden when we plant it. So you're going to keep these notes and you're going to do your own pest. And I would like you to email me pictures of those pests. I'm also going to reopen this Zoom with another email so you guys can ask questions and we can go over anything you missed. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay, so same process, and I will try not to do the admittance format so that you can just get straight in this time. Do you have a question, Braden? No?
Other than just praying mantis, nematodes, and then ladybugs, what else is there that you can actually introduce that would kill other animals?
Well, again, those wasps are very predatory. Those are a good thing to introduce. You know, surprisingly, chickens are a good pest control. They actually will pick out the bugs. So
would birds